can see the board looks different to a regular gun. And one of the main reasons it looks different is the tail. The tail's extremely narrow, it's thicker than normal, and it's got a really soft rail. Well, it will have when I shake it. So what happens is that tail, we call it displacement tail, it sinks under pressure, okay? So as you go faster or you weight the tail to try and turn, instead of the tail planing on top, planing on the surface, and that whole planing area coming back, so the whole board's balancing on this planing surface at the back, instead of that happening, the tail will just submerge. And this tail is basically a foil cross section, so it's designed to run underwater. It'll run on top of the water, it'll run under the water, it'll run in between, and when it's moving between underwater and on top of the water. So it can sink in and out without any fuss at all. It just seamlessly rises and falls. Now, why is that an advantage? Well, what it is, okay, the board will always pivot up and down. Like it's going to hit pieces of chop, you're going to weight it fore and aft, so the board will pitch, right? So whenever the board pitches, it does it on a fulcrum, thus. So say, right now the board pitches here, this part of the board isn't really moving at all, nose is going up, tail is going down, right? Now with a regular board, as you go faster or you weight the tail, that pitch fulcrum will come right back. So you see how awkward this is, even to try and show you like this. It'll start doing this, and the point on the board, which is the fulcrum and essentially doesn't move, is way back here. So what you've got now is you've got the nose flapping up and down heaps, and that means that part of the time you've got lots of rail in, part of the time you've got not much rail in as the board's driving up and down. So this just messes up your control big time. You can end up with very little rail right when you need it, or too much rail right when you don't want it. So with this board, you weight the stern, or you hit a piece of chop, or you want to raise the nose, whatever, then instead of the pitch fulcrum moving from, say, here, like that, to all the way back there, they'll just move back a little bit, and the tail will sink. So it's keeping the same characteristic the whole time, and you're getting like a graduated, controlled response to how much the nose is up, how much rail you've got in, and the control is just effortless. Doesn't matter how fast you're going, or how much chop there is, or what situation you're in, the board will always behave the same. You can more or less be in the same place on it, a nice, stable, more or less central position, and you can just do it all from there, and it's just going to react consistently and effortlessly, right? As opposed to being back here where everything's going to go haywire. Now the reason the other boards do that is because they've got a wide tail with a hard edge typically. Even the gun boards that have reasonably narrow tails, they're still a lot wider than this, and they've got a hard edge, lots of fins, sometimes with a bit of cant. All of this makes a planing tail, so it won't sink. And that's the crux of the displacement tail, which seems very simple, but hasn't really been done except by us.